Hello, Realtors. Good morning. It's Monday, and it is February the 3rd, and welcome to the second month of 2025. Hard to believe. January's already tucked away. Hope you had a good start to the year, and we are ready to roll this week. We've got our big annual legislative event, Accelerate. Our Capitol Conference annual event is starting tomorrow with a major investor event, our legislative reception, and lots of fun, lots of training, lots of networking for our advocacy programs here in Columbia. We've got several hundred folks that are going to be in town. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you here. We've got a lot of stuff going on. It's been a minute since I've had a chance to kind of really catch up with you. We've been on the road quite a bit the last few weeks. I know we had a quick update last week, but wanted to share a few highlights. You know, the governor gave his, I guess, Mike, that would be his second to last State of the State address. I think he's got one more next year, and then after 10 years, I think Henry's already the longest serving governor in the history of South Carolina. But he called the legislature to do a couple of specific things that could impact real estate, I think, in a positive way in the years ahead. And let me highlight just a couple of the calls to action, so to speak, that he charged the General Assembly with in his State of the State last week. I thought overall it was a good report on the health of South Carolina, its economy, its infrastructure, but specifically he called the legislature to not just continue reducing the income tax, but to eliminate it altogether. Talk about making South Carolina even more competitive. He called for the legislature to streamline and create a hard and fast 90-day permitting rule. He understands that in development, in the world that we live in as realtors, that time is money. And with the housing shortage, the crisis that we're facing just from unit and supply issues, the governor understands that permitting can address some of that problem up front. And so he's calling on the legislature to address the permitting process. He wants to look at all the laws of all the licensing boards. Now, this was an interesting comment in his State of the State where he wants to make sure that these licensing boards aren't creating more red tape than is necessary. And as far as that impacts us, that means he's going to be looking at the Real Estate Commission. I think when he looks at the Real Estate Commission, he's going to see that they've done a good job of reducing fees while making sure they address the bad characters in our business. If you've read anything about insurance, you know the joint and several liability laws need reform in our state. The governor has called for that and is looking at specific insurance issues to help small businesses. Realtors are going to be at these hearings letting legislators know, hey, we need to look at homeowners insurance, auto insurance. These premiums have skyrocketed over the last few years and are impacting all of our businesses across the state. You probably read about his focus on energy and making sure that South Carolina is ready for the future to meet our energy and power needs. He wants to spend more money on infrastructure, specifically to address the state of the bridges in South Carolina, replacing all of the bridges that are functionally out of date. Wants to increase teacher pay to more than, I believe, $250,000 starting pay for teachers, which would put us quite a bit above the Southeast. And a very common theme for Henry, the governor, I should say, ever since he was Attorney General, has always advocated for conservation efforts, preserving those special places in our state, which make us so attractive to the growth that we're experiencing. So a well-rounded State of the State that I think addresses all of the quality of life issues that make our communities attractive, which makes our business thrive and grow. There are some impacts that we're going to see long-term in insurance from Hurricane Helene, these wildfires in California and other natural disasters. We are going to feel those impacts. Our homeowners are going to feel it. Our business owners are going to feel it in the form of higher insurance premiums, which is why we need desperately to get in front of that issue here in South Carolina. There's, on a national level, a lot of talk this week about, and last week leading up to today, about the president issuing tariffs on the goods and supplies that our home builder colleagues use in building, fear of raising the costs on housing at a time where housing costs are already extremely high and rising even faster because of inflation and other factors. You know, I'm often asked, you know, where do I go for news? What are my favorite podcasts, news sites? Because you can read a lot about these tariffs from a lot of different websites and get quite a variety of different opinions on their scope, their impact, whether the president is just using this to bluff or I mean, everything in between. I mean, it's hard to make sense of what's factual and what's just someone's opinion. One of my favorite news sites for Congress and what's happening in Washington, D.C. Is a site called Punchbowl News. They have a great podcast that accompanies that. Mike, if you could put some links to these in the comments would be cool. For real estate specific, Housing Wire, realestatenews.com, Realtor Magazine, of course. Our national association is one of my go-to sources for real estate news. And I focus on those for the most part. Those are the ones that are in my daily feed, and I subscribe to all the newsletters and news alerts. I get those in my text messages and emails, so I stay on top of what's happening in real estate and in our political news in Congress. As far as our State House is concerned, I rely on our lobbying team, Lindsay and Austin's weekly podcast. Of course, I meet with them more often than just on the podcast, but I love to catch up on what is happening at the State House as well. So, speaking of State House, one last plug for Capitol Conference. Real excited about the event this week. Lots of realtors coming in town, and everybody's invited their legislator to our evening reception tomorrow night. Look forward to seeing everyone there. And don't forget to leave some comments and some feedbacks. February, we're giving away a DJI Gimbal, which we showed on our update last week. So make sure you give us your feedback, and we'll randomly pick someone for that prize at the end of the month. Mike, I think that's it for today. I know you're busy getting stuff ready, all the promo and banners and tech and all of the presentations for tomorrow. We look forward to seeing all of you here in Columbia. I hope you can make it. In the meantime, stay safe, stay Realtor strong, and we'll catch up again real soon. Take care, everyone.